already know what time it is. So for me, just to sum it up, the overall theme of the movie surrounded connecting to your originality, connecting to your authenticity, connecting to the godlike source within you. And that was highlighted by them having to pretty much go through a series of events in order just to bring up their homeland, which happened to be in the middle of the ocean. Now, off rip, one of the very first things that I thought about when watching this movie was what we would consider BlackRock, which is known to be the largest corporation or company in the world, the richest corporation or company in the world. But in some of my previous videos, I have talked about how the North Pole can be tied back into the black magnetic sun, or back into the middle center core of the earth. This is basically a portal which we get from the underworld to the terra, or the land, to the heavens. And it is noted right here by the United Nations symbols. This right here is the middle of the North Pole, where they tell you it is completely snow over. Okay, what's under the snow? Now, if you follow what I'm saying, this could tie in also to magnetism. Now, our magnetism is directly correlated to our spirituality, to our dark feminine. And when paired with electricity, you create a godlike being. When you pair the spiritual and the physical, you create this, our vessel, our being, our existence. Now, our society has a lack of divine feminine energy flowing because people do not understand their spirits. This is why you're seeing a rise in spirituality, or gaining an awareness of your spirit. The movie highlights this specifically with the character Matangi. Now, Matangi was represented by bats, and she was surrounded by a purple orb. What is purple related to? Related to the higher realms, related to your head chakra. That is a feminine chakra. She directly represents the dark feminine, Amun, the unseen, magnetism, anything dealing with the darkness. The message from her was to follow our intuition, follow the unknown, because that is the only way you're going to get home, not through the illusion of this physical reality. We were introduced to the demigod, or the fallen angel, or the angels who were sent here to help us on this realm and achieve our goal of becoming back to ourselves. They were represented by Matangi and Maui. Now, Maui is a representation of the divine masculine energy, while Matangi is a direct representation of the divine feminine energy. These two energies, which are both spiritual energies, have to come together in order to help out the humans, or in order to help out the beings that are here trying to figure out their existence. Something that interested me in the movie was also the fact that when she was singing to Moana, she pointed directly to her third eye, telling her to get out of here, get out of your mind, let your first eye lead you, and not thinking with your third eye. Your first eye is a combination of the mind and the spirit, not just one. Maui is a representation of simply relying on the physical, or on the masculine, or on the mind, and not utilizing the intuition, not utilizing the spirit, not utilizing the feminine. And also, she is bound to the clan. Her spirit cannot be freed until the humans recognize who they are. Until you recognize who you are as a being, you cannot understand or free your spirit. Free your soul. Get back to home. Now, once Moana got past Matangi, she eventually went to the underworld, or what was known as the Sea of Darkness. The ocean could not help her here. Her physical needs could not help her here. She had to rely strictly on intuition and on guidance from her spirit. These little monsters and every other thing that was attacking them represents demons in the underworld, or downtown Atlanta. Nalo is a direct representation of what we consider the devil, or what is really our lower self. The parts of ourselves that no one wants to identify with, the parts of ourselves that causes guilt, causes shame, causes fear. This god, or Nalo, was envious because he could not continue to divide these lands. People were trying to find out how to come together, find out how to find other people, and he was constantly trying to divide the land. Does that remind y'all of anybody? Now, when they were battling Nalo, when they were in the sea of darkness, nothing could help them except their spirits. Now, this character right here, he reminds me a lot of Thoth or Tahuti, or however you want to consider it, who is basically the god of script, the god of recollection, and the god who recounts every event, which is what he did in the movie. But I found it interesting that when they were in that underworld scene, he went under the boat. He was the one who was the seer, and he went and his spirit saw something that obviously wasn't too good, because when he came back on the boat, him and Moana made such good eye contact, nothing had to be said. More than likely, he saw a demon, he saw a spirit, he saw the black shadow, whatever you want to call it. And it's funny because most times spirits or demons like to attack people who are naive, who are gullible, and who really do not understand their true power. He is a representation of that. And while we're here, I might as well go ahead and discuss these other two characters as well. She represents the builder. She represents the aspect of ourselves that constantly wants to improve, that constantly wants to get better. Really like a Mars and Sun energy coming together. He represents the elders, or represents the people who are supposed to carry on the traditions and the wisdom in society. And my little favorite little coconutty right here, he represents the animal kingdom and how they come to help us as well. And we already know these two from the first, bacon and eggs. All these characters represent different aspects of beings that come and bring different things to the table. If we all work together, we can help each other. Now, in the first movie, Moana's goal for her village was to restore their hearts, restore their willpower, restore their connection to their true selves. Because once she did this, she was then able to restore the heart of the village, the heart of the entire lands of the oceans, the heart of all people around the world. But this can come with a price, because in order to leave and come back and be revered for that, you have to leave and go do something great, in which she did the first time. Essentially, her goal was to leave her village, leave what was comfortable, leave the things that she felt like was so important to her in a physical sense, and go search for something more for her soul. Continuing on her mission despite the relationships and connections she had on this physical plane. Because after all, she realized that she was a spiritual being existing on a physical plane. And if she really wanted to continue to have the love and have the heart of Tafiti on that plane, she had to continue to dig, continue to search, continue to drive. Now that we've discussed most of the characters and all of the relationships in the movie, we're going to tie some things together. When I mentioned Black Rock at the beginning of this video, it was to directly correlate you to something internally and externally, exoteric and esoteric. This represents the 12 tribes of Israel, which is noted in the Bible, or basically how the lands were split and divided after Nalo's reign, Elite's reign. But internally, we can correlate this to the 12 zodiac signs, the 12 chakras that are in us, or the 12 personality traits that we have. These 12 personality traits are highlighted by different symbols, different representations, and different tribes. Going back to the physical sense, utilizing the help from different tribes, from different personalities, and from different traits within yourself and externally, you can connect back to the original source. These are all tools that are here for you to better understand yourself. If you only consider yourself to be one part of the zodiac, one zodiac sign, one tribe, one race, one ethnicity, one nationality, then you divide yourself from the middle, from the core of who you truly are. That's the bigger message behind them having to go raise Motofutu, or the land that connects them all. It's not about race. It's not about division. It's not about superiority or inferiority. It's really mostly about connecting with your core. Now, there are plenty of ways that you can do this that do not require division. They tell you this in the movie with the ocean. Just like we have our lands to explore and to learn more about ourselves, the ocean and the heavens, which is the sky, represents two different dimensions that we can also learn things from. This is why our ancestors told us to go back to the water. That is how we're going to understand our spiritual body, because our spiritual body is represented by the waters that are composed of us. We are composed of more than 75% water. Just like this plane is mostly water. So why do you think only 5% of the ocean has been explored? You can only explore the physical ocean because to really understand the ocean, you have to go within, the waters that lie within. Now, Moana's grandma is a perfect example of this. She comes back through the water as a stingray on the first movie and the second one. But this one, more specifically, her goal is to show Moana that she is not by herself. She has people behind her. She has a tribe behind her that is willing to ride for her. That's the energies that our ancestors give us. They went through things and had experiences in order to come back and give us the foundation that they created for themselves so that we would not have to go back 50 steps in order to gain anything. We could simply just build off of what they already left here. Now, the stingray, which is represented by her grandma, whales, dolphins, any ocean animals, are directly correlated to the spiritual realm. That was shown in this movie. This is why they are considered aliens or extraterrestrials. They are beings that are here to help us. Why do you think it's illegal to communicate with dolphins and whales and stuff like that, huh? Because they're going to tell you who you are. They're going to tell you where you're from, and they're going to tell you how to get back there, like the animals did in Moana. With this thing right here, that showed you that in order to really get to the center of the earth, to get to the sea of darkness, to get to the underworld, they had to go through this little ugly, ginormous land-looking monster. This monster essentially guarded the portal to which she found Bat Lady in. They had to conquer their fear of this monster because it was unfamiliar. It looked like land, but it wasn't. That is fears. False evidence appearing real. Let go of your fears and you can connect more with your spirit. This is a perfect diagram of what it looks like to go from hell, or your lower self, earth, represented by the heart chakra or this neutral plane, and the heavens, which is really only spirit or light beings can go. Only your soul can go. The more solid you are, the more you are able to penetrate through to hell. The more lighter you are, the more you are able to penetrate through the heavens. This is basically just a straight line portal. The ocean is a portal to the inner world or to hell. The sky is a portal to the heavens or to the upper world, the spiritual realm. The stars, the planets, the sun, the moon, all of that is also there to help you, just like the creatures in the ocean. In the first and the second movie, Moana had to follow stars, had to follow comets, had to follow things in the sky in order to truly awaken herself to the darkness. She had to experience the duality of light and dark through the stars and through the underworld. If y'all want a full video just about this topic right here, I can go all day long. Let me know. But all in summary are just different aspects of yourself. your higher self, your heart, which connects you to this earth. If you look at earth, you take the H and put it in the front, it goes to heart. And then your lower or your hellish self. Just like this realm has a heaven, the sky, the earth, which is the land or the terra, and then you have the underworld, which a lot of people don't know about, but most of the leaders that lead your countries and your corporations, they come from the underworld. They are all just minions for what Nalo was in the movie, the big dark god that is responsible for division. Now, in the first film, Maui helped Moana find her heart. He helped Moana restore the heart of Te Fiti, restore the heart of the people. Once again, Maui only represents the divine masculine energy or the physical plane. He is a demigod that helps the physical plane. Hence why he can transform to things like a falcon, things like a bug, anything dealing with the land. But Matangi, which her head is kind of cut off right here, but it's okay. She represents the divine feminine. You have to have a combination of both in order to go back to your soul. So Maui really couldn't help Moana as much as he wanted to in the second film. However, he was willing to give up his demigod status in order to ensure that she completed her mission. And another interesting thing to note is the fact that they both have the two little tools that are there to help them and that represent what kind of being they are. She is a wayfinder, a pathfinder, a prophetess, if you will. He is a demigod who can switch and transform like Heru or like Horus in Egyptian mythology. Once Moana got to Motofetu, she needed the help of Maui along with the things that Bat Lady had already told her. She needed their help to bring up the soul of the land, which this is a physical representation of. Also, if you're familiar with the story of Atlantis, and one of my favorite songs by the Isley Brothers is Voyage to Atlantis. You could go listen at that song. But that basically, in the song they say, I'll always come back to you. They are literally saying she will always come back to you will always come back to your original soul. You will always come back to the core of who you truly are. Utilizing help from outside sources, utilizing help from the tools that were placed here for you. Once Moana, her crew, her spirit guides, her ancestors, and the demigods that were there to help her all came and joined together, they were able to raise the Otofetu, which is a representation of the core of who we are. After the core of who you are, your soul is truly established, after the lands are no longer divided, after everything has been conquered internally and externally, Moana then began to see the people roll in. And that right there is a representation of the collective consciousness, the collective spirit, the one true collective source. Despite the fact that they were all out there searching for the same thing, the one thing that divided them in the first place, they were all searching for that, no matter the color, no matter the race, no matter the gender, no matter the ethnicity, no matter the nationality. They were all searching for the same thing. Out to this creator right here because it was very hard for me to go find some pictures, but these are evidence of the what she calls Melanesian people in Moana 2. I feel like it's important for us to discuss this because despite the fact that these people show up in the movie, that really wasn't representation that they were there first. And I hate to bust the bubble of a lot of people, but the movie was quite literally trying to get you to see that they were all on the same mission. They were all trying to do the same thing. The only thing first place gives you is an ego boost of feeling like you are better, feeling like you are the only winner, when in reality everybody had to cross that finish line at some point. So many people in this conscious reality, so many people in this spiritual reality are so focused on the division, which the movie quite literally tells you is what caused the separation of the lands in the first place. People get caught up on that, get caught up on being the first one, get caught up on being the original, get caught up on all of that, when yes, it is important to determine who was here first. It is important to determine who has the most knowledge, but only because that needs to be utilized as a tool to get everyone back to who they are. If you take the fact that these people were quote unquote the first ones to arrive and use that as a superiority tactic, you are no better than those white confusionalists or white supremacists who feel that they are better. You are no better than them. You're doing the exact same thing that they once did to you. I had to go on that little rant because I was seeing the stuff already starting up on TikTok. This right here, along with the ending scene where they were all coming together and sharing their practices, sharing their cultures, and sharing their things into one big mixing pot under that tent, that was a powerful scene right there because it highlighted the fact that they all were on the same mission. They all came together and shared their experiences, and they all advanced, which is what the storm god Nalo did not want. The storm god Nalo, who is also represented by the elites, who is also represented by the devil that walks this physical plane, who is also represented by the devil inside of you that stops you from getting back to your true self because you are caught up on the illusions of this reality, because you are stuck by fear, because you cannot find who you truly are, because you are looking in all the wrong places and not looking within. Our physical reality is just a manifestation of our internal reality. So if enough people create an image of this world inside of themselves and it all matches up, that image will become true because it is for the majority. While we are all here to complete the same mission, there are beings that work for Nalo, and there are beings that are there to help Moana. Which side of the fence are you going to be on, and when are you going to recognize that Nalo is only an illusion and a manifestation of people who want to keep continuing division, people who want to keep continuing racism, people who want to keep continuing genderism, people who want to keep continuing anything that requires getting away from the core, getting away from God, getting away from source, getting away from Allah, getting away from whoever you want to label that energy as. And as I finish this video off, I want to encourage everyone as they watch this film, watch it from a lens and a perspective of your own, because you never know. Your perspective could very well be the perspective that ties everything together. Peace, love, chaos. Much gratitude for watching, and I say, baby.